Andy Johnson, Part 2, Reading Remediation for Special Needs Learners and some problems with segregated instruction. First of all, some problems. Is it effective? Is it the most effective when compared to inclusive strategies or good inclusive classroom education? I am looking for research comparing the two. Go ahead and send me some if you find it. That says pull out instruction where you drill and practice in little isolated bits, isolated skills is more effective than good quality inclusive instruction, getting students involved in holistic and authentic reading and writing activities. Some of the problems are that it fragments the curriculum. Students are pulled out of the classroom. They miss some instruction. If you leave the classroom, you are going to miss some instruction. They get a less consistent instead of more consistent approach to literacy and instruction, and they're less able to tie instruction with what is occurring in the classroom. It makes reading more abstract. Think about it, putting a letter to a sound, putting all these little squiggles together to form words that mean something. If you take a strictly phonics-based approach to learning to read, to recognizing words, it makes reading more difficult because it is more abstract. Students are holding on to letters and letter sounds instead of ideas. And here's the thing, when you see this word, abstract, you do not focus on each individual letter. You see kind of the first and the last, and you use the context, the semantics to understand or recognize that word. Thus, it makes sense, if instruction is to reflect reality, that we have to use more than just phonics and drill and skill in phonics instruction. When they leave the classroom, there's a social stigma whenever you leave the group, no matter what the age, and you miss good modeling by other students in social skills and writing process and talking about books, etc. The most effective way that I have found for reading instruction for learners with special needs is reading workshop. Students get to choose their own books. You have mini lessons in flexible groups, special little pull-out groups. In the classroom, special bits of instruction related to what students are doing. Reading workshop approach, I would suggest that you look into that. Remedial instruction in reading, whether it be segregated or in the classroom. Segregated is that pull-out instruction. Remember, identify your goal. First of all, what is your goal? Is it barking at print and making specific sounds, identifying letters? Or is it to enhance students' ability to create meaning with text? That is the ultimate goal. Not to get higher scores on some tests or some little identifying words in a list. The goal is to help students create meaning with text, to understand. Reading is an interactive process. It is not simply recognizing words on the page or sounding out words. We use what's in our head with what's on the page to create meaning. Good readers use minimal letter cues. So it makes sense that we not focus on individual letters. This is not to say that we don't have phonics instruction. 12 essential elements of remedial instruction in reading. Essential, that means all of these must be included. Word recognition, the first one. Context clues. Use meaning. Close activities are one way to develop the ability to use context clues. What word makes sense within the sentence? Morphemic analysis. Recognizing prefixes, suffixes, and root words to help you identify this word. Word recognition, word parts or word families, sometimes called word analysis, where you learn to recognize familiar parts in a word. These are called word families, by the way. Or onset rhyme or word building. Word recognition, phonics. Yes, phonics should be included, but it is one of 12 things that should be included. It should not be the only thing. And sadly, this is what happens. Students have trouble reading, so we say, well, I think they just need some more phonics. Yep, that's what they need, all right. And that's what they get. Fluency activities. Some specific activities related to repeated reading and other fluency sorts of things. I have a video on reading fluency. You may want to look at that. Specific strategies. Phonemic awareness activities. for younger readers. Activities that get them hearing the sound. Phoneme is the smallest sound. Hearing the sounds within the word. Younger readers. Reading practice. Voluntary reading. Reading good books. This is a research-based strategy. Correlation between the amount of reading and reading achievement. This is a research-based strategy. And if we can get them to fall in love with books, teachers' #1 job, they are more apt, rather than less apt, to read in their spare time. And the amount of reading you do is essential. Helps you process letters faster and quicker. Talking about good books, this is a social constructivist idea. You learn more when there is interaction. You learn at deeper levels. You're talking about books using literature circles or book clubs or book talks, getting excited about books, hearing what other people think and say. This is a way to make personal connections and interpersonal connections. Comprehension skills for expository text. Boys and girls, this is how you read expository text. Step 1, read a paragraph. Step 2, pause. You get the idea. And I have videos on comprehension skills. But a skill is something, a process broken down in specific parts and taught explicitly. You cannot read a textbook the way you read a narrative or a story. Authentic writing experiences. That means authentic. Students are writing and communicating their thoughts, their experiences, what they think. All right? Authentic. And inauthentic is having them write a report on something that the teacher says. Writing process. You teach the writing process. You teach pre-writing, draft, revising, editing, and sharing. A lot of writing instruction just focuses on skills. But you teach how to generate ideas, get that first draft on paper, revise, revise, revise until it sounds right. Then we edit. Step 4. A lot of people try to edit here and it constipates the writing process. And sharing and publishing makes writing come alive when you see the reaction with other people. And temporary spelling, sometimes called invented spelling. Students are writing, they don't know how to spell the word, so you say, well, use a couple letters to hold the idea. We'll come back and we'll edit it later. So here you have a student trying to write dinosaur, and he's sounding the word out, listening for letters and sounds. That enhances their ability to put letters and sounds together. That is the best way to learn phonics. All 12 of these elements must be included in any remedial instruction of any kind, whether a special ed student, whatever you call this student. If you are looking for remediation, all 12 of these, they should, by the way, be included in all reading programs, by the way, but especially for students with special learning needs, especially whether it be inclusive classroom instruction or segregated pull-out instruction. Of the two, I heartily recommend inclusive classroom instruction, but it takes a knowledgeable and skilled teacher to do this effectively, and that's where you come in.